I'm not someone who goes around telling ghost stories or trying to freak people out. But whenever the conversation turns to scary real-life experiences, this is the one that always shuts everyone up. I was 16 at the time, right before my junior year of high school. Like a lot of kids from my area, I grew up in one of those East Coast boardwalk towns, filled with funnel cakes, arcades, cheap sunglasses, and seagulls that have zero fear of humans. You know the type. The town was called Seaglass Point, and in the summer, it was a madhouse. But in the off-season, it turned into this weird, echoey ghost town, the kind of quiet that hums in your ears. Locals always say the boardwalk in winter has its own soul, something old, heavy. I used to think that was just artsy crap. Now I'm not so sure. Our house wasn't anything fancy, just a worn-down bungalow 3 blocks from Seaglass Pier. It had this musty carpet smell and a leaky roof, but it was home. My parents were never really home much. My mom worked night shifts at the hospital, and my dad was a long-haul trucker, so for most of high school, I was basically a free agent. One night in late October, I had trouble sleeping. The air was thick, and the wind sounded like someone whispering through the siding. It was that kind of insomnia where your body's tired, but your brain is wired. I figured I'd go for a walk, clear my head, maybe grab a soda from the vending machine on the boardwalk. I threw on a hoodie, no phone, just my key and a flashlight. That was my thing. I liked moving around without the distraction of screens. Something about hearing your own footsteps in the quiet, it puts your head in a different place. Anyway, I made my way to Seaglass Pier, which was one of the few places still partially lit in the off-season. A few street lamps still worked, flickering like dying fireflies. Everything else, games, food stands, ice cream kiosks, shuttered. The place was deserted, except for the occasional sea breeze kicking up old paper cups or wrappers. I walked out to the edge of the pier and leaned on the rail, watching the black ocean thrum and heave like it was breathing. That's when I saw it, or I should say, heard it first. A dragging sound, wood on wood, then a thump. I turned. Nothing. The pier stretched behind me, empty. But then I heard it again, closer, thump. Then something whispered, not in words, just breathy, rhythmic, like someone trying to speak but forgetting how. I told myself it was wind. That's what everyone tells themselves, right? But the flashlight in my pocket suddenly felt like a lifeline. I turned it on. Just beyond the last food stand, I saw a shadow duck beneath the pier, and I swear to you, it was crawling. Not walking, crawling and fast. My body froze. It wasn't a person. Or if it was, something was deeply wrong. The way it moved, like a spider that had forgotten how its limbs worked. The light flickered. My gut twisted. Something inside me said, go home. But I didn't. Instead, I did the dumbest thing possible. I told myself I just wanted to prove it was a stray dog or maybe a homeless guy squatting under the pier. That if I just got a better look, I could laugh about it later. Because what's scarier, facing something strange or not knowing what it is? I walked back down the pier toward where the shadow had ducked. There's a small rusted gate at the base of Seaglass Pier that leads underneath. Maintenance staff used it to check for rot and do electrical stuff. It was always locked. Except this time it wasn't. The padlock was hanging loose. Door cracked open like it had been waiting for me. I stood there for maybe a full minute, listening. The ocean, the wind, then something else. Scratching. That sound again. Thump. Drag. Whisper. I aimed my flashlight under the pier and ducked inside. It was cold. Unnaturally cold and damp. The air didn't smell like the sea anymore. It smelled like rust and something older. Something rotten. The flashlight beam hit beams, nails, seaweed, abandoned plastic bottles. Nothing out of the ordinary. Then I spotted it, maybe 30 feet in. A figure, slumped, facing away. I froze. Hello, I said. My voice sounded small. No response. I took a step forward, the sand crunching beneath my sneakers. You okay? Still nothing. Another step. I swung the light toward the figure's hands. They were raw. Fingers dug into the wood. Nails torn. Then its head turned. Only it didn't turn like a normal person's head. It twisted. All the way around. Like an owl. And the face, I still don't know how to describe it. It looked human, but wrong. The features were stretched, sunken, like someone had tried to carve a face out of wax, then let it melt in the sun. The eyes were milky, but I swear they locked onto me. It opened its mouth, but instead of a voice, I heard my own name. Not from the figure, from somewhere behind me. I spun around, no one there. I turned back, and the figure was gone. I didn't hear it move, it was just gone. I ran, full sprint, didn't look back. Got home and slammed the door so hard it woke my neighbor's dog. I locked everything, windows, doors, even the damn kitchen cabinets. I didn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw its face again. Heard my name, like a whisper wrapped in sea salt. But that wasn't the end. The next morning, I figured I dreamed it. Chalked it up to insomnia and too many horror movies. I even told myself maybe I'd seen a homeless person and imagined the rest. But then I saw the footprints under my bedroom window, sand, and something else, drag marks, like something crawling. The screen was bent slightly outward. My stomach dropped. I didn't tell my parents. I didn't tell anyone. But I didn't sleep with the window open again either. For the next week, things were quiet. Then one night, I came home from a friend's house. The porch light was off. I could have sworn I'd left it on. On the welcome mat, a coin, a silver token, the kind you'd use at the Boardwalk arcade. But this one was rusted, like it had been in salt water for years. The logo was faded, but I recognized it. Sea Glass Fun Palace. That arcade had shut down 5 years ago, burned in a kitchen fire. No one had used those tokens in forever. Still, I picked it up. It was warm. That night, I dreamt of the thing again. Only this time, it was standing at the foot of my bed. Its mouth was open, and from it came the sound of waves. Crashing, screaming. I woke up gasping. My pillow was wet, not with sweat, with seawater. That was when I broke. I told my mom everything. She thought I was having a breakdown. Took me to a therapist. I didn't even fight it. Pretending it was in my head was better than believing it was real. But that winter, a maintenance crew was doing repairs under the pier after a storm, and they found something. Something that never made it to the papers. A man, or what was left of one, body curled under the boards, fingernails torn, mouth open in a silent scream. They never identified him. The cops said it looked like he'd been there for years. But that's impossible, because he was wearing a hoodie, the same one I lost 2 weeks before. My hoodie, same size, same brand. Even had a tear on the sleeve I remembered catching on a chain link fence. I stopped walking near the pier after that. Didn't go near the water for a long time. I don't live in Sea Glass Point anymore, but my parents still do. And every now and then, my mom says she hears something outside her window at night. Dragging, whispering. Sometimes she swears she sees footprints in the sand. And once, just once, she found something on the porch. A rusted token, still warm to the touch.